Zindagi Tamasha is a movie that will hurt the first time you watch it, and you'll feel a sense of dread throughout the movie. It's not this light movie you watch to feel good about yourself or good about the world. It's a movie you watch, and at the end of it, you just add this one prayer to your list of prayers that may God protect everybody's life and dignity. I was watching the movie and I felt like my heart was sinking. It was an intense experience, and I can only imagine what it would be like in an actual cinema in that setting. It would be even more impactful. And I think that's why we are missing out. So first of all, we talk about the main character, which is Khwaja Saab, and he is a Nathwa, and he recites the most beautiful prayers, and it's the time of 12th Rabiul Awwal, which is this time where we celebrate the birth of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The main character Rahat Khawaja is portrayed by Arif Hassan, who is a veteran actor, and you can see it in his expressions, from the movements of the eyes to the switch of emotion from one to the next within seconds. It's wonderfully played and wonderfully done, and I think this is probably one of the best and softest characters ever portrayed, with the way he treats his wife. The wife's character is played by Samia Mumtaz, and Samia Mumtaz she's one of the best actresses Pakistan has ever had. Like, every character she plays has that nuance, that grace, and somehow she manages to pull it all together, even when she shows disability in the weakness and how she wants to be there for her husband. And at the end, of course, it's so hard hitting, it's amazingly done. Then we have Iman Suleiman as the daughter. Now Iman Suleiman, I love Iman Suleiman, and she is so cool. She plays her character really well. I feel really angry at her a lot of the times, and you really want her to try to understand her father, but she won't, of course, because you realize that children often have this bias against their own parents because they feel like their parents can do no wrong, and they hold their parents to a higher standard. So if something happens which makes them question whatever they have believed all these years, they're obviously going to be angry. But I think the fact that there was no actual result of it, like it doesn't, there's no end to the whole thing, they just leave it off at the end, and they don't like actually conclude the thing or make it better, and which is realistic, because in most cases things are not going to get better that easily. It's not a you snap your finger then it's better. So the daughter's name is Sadaf, and her husband is Danish, and it's played by Ali Qureshi, who's a model, and he plays his part really well as well. He's like supportive when he has to be. He tries to be understanding of his father-in-law. He tries to be there for his mother-in-law, and overall it's a well-rounded character. He's a caring husband. Again, I like the portrayal of kind family men who are there for their families, their wives, and who want to take care of the people around them, instead of just being in the usual portrayal of toxic masculinity and men trying to control women. It's a very comparatively open household where women are allowed to, the daughter works as a producer for a morning show. I think the most interesting part of this whole thing is that the main character, Rahat Khawaja, he looks the part of a stereotypical Muslim man who's angry and who's aggressive towards his family, and he looks that part, right? But he has none of those stereotypical characters attached to him. He's not narrow-minded. His daughter works. His wife is, even though she's unwell, he takes care of her. So even though it breaks those stereotypes, it breaks the negative stereotypes and adds a lot of positive character traits to it. So the movie starts off with a wedding, and this one situation occurs at the wedding, and the rest of the movie is a reaction of society and the world and his daughter and everybody to this one situation. So there all laughing, and he's sitting with his friends and they're having fun, they're laughing and enjoying themselves, and they talk about, when we were kids, he used to dance, and they ask him a few times, why don't you dance, why don't you dance, why don't you dance, and he dances, and somebody makes a video and puts it up on social media, and it goes viral. And that is where the problem starts. So in the video, he does a lot of vulgar steps, and it's a little lewd, and of course in that get-up with his beard and his pot belly, and it's just something which was bound to go viral, and it does. And his daughter is the one who discovers it. She sends it to her husband, and then they come home and they show it to him. And his wife has the best reaction to it, and she asks what song was it, and he starts singing and dancing. The song's called Zindagi Tamasha, and she's laughing as well. And they take it very lightly, they don't think it's a big deal. But it is a big deal, because with his get-up, him dancing, he becomes a meme. This actually reminds me of a real life story. There was this meme which went viral called of this auntie saying, "Ye big gayi government," and she was ridiculed to the absolute end. Like, she was tormented by her neighbors, and it was really, really bad. People were very upsetting towards her and her family, and she had a terrible time afterwards, right? So that's one downside of social media, that once something goes viral and becomes a meme and goes viral, people have very little control over it. Which is why it's so important that especially people who do not understand about the power of social media basically, and how terrible a situation could become if anything they say is taken out of context.
Speaking of context, this is the clip that was taken out of context, which caused the outrage against Zindagi Tamasha, which is why it never got to play in cinemas.
And of course, it becomes a meme, and there's pictures and printouts of it coming up on, posters being put up on walls, and it's basically out of their control. The daughter is angry, and she's angry to the point she refuses to talk to her father, and she will not talk to her father to the very end. And so we will not see a conclusion to that. So it's not going to get better. So the father-daughter relationship is destroyed. The wife is still, she's laughing. Because it's a joke, right? They're not taking it seriously. And what he does is he goes and he beats up the boy who made the video and uploaded it on social media and made it viral. And his friends are like, how dare he? And they start to turn on him. And slowly everybody starts to isolate him. They come up with an idea that he should record an apology. And they start talking about, how they should frame it. There's this bearded man, another Maulvi Sahab, who's there to record this for him.
So these two have a very heated conversation about shame and regrets, where Rahat Khawaja mentions people embezzling the funds of mosques and child molestation, and says they have more to be ashamed of than me and my dance. And this really offended a lot of people. This is the clip which went viral pre-release of Zindagi Tamasha, and the reason why it was banned.
That was the clip which really offended a lot of people, and I mean, it's true, right? And at that point, the other Maulvi Sahab gets really, really angry, and that is when we know that something really bad is going to happen. The next day is the 12th Rabiul Awwal show. He shows up, Rahat Khawaja shows up, and he has been removed from the poster. His face has been blackened, and he shows up to recite, and he gets ready. He tells his wife, "I'm gonna go," and he goes to recite, and they don't let him in initially. And he enters, and he puts up a fight. He enters the show, and the same Maulvi Sahab who got mad at him for talking about child molestation comes up to him and he says, "I've been reciting here since I was 8. Why should I go?" And he says, and the other Maulvi Sahab says, "Should I raise my voice And by that he means he's actually threatening Rahat Khawaja that he is going to accuse him of blasphemy. And that really shatters the man. He comes home and he's isolated to the point where he cannot talk about this to anyone. He cannot talk to his wife, who's already disabled and cannot help him out. His daughter has isolated him. His son-in-law, obviously he's not going to be able to help in any way. And he just comes home he's shattered. And he tells his wife that he did recite, and he said, people recited just once and I recited 4 times, and she says that I heard you. And I think that moment, that specific moment where they're both crying, they're both hurt, but they're both not able to be honest with each other. She says, I heard you. And she knows he's lying, but she just says, I heard you. And because she cannot help him out at this point, right? So it was just, I just watched it with I just wanted to cry at this point. I did cry a bit. And this movie is just, it's heartbreaking. And right at the end she dies. And the daughter blames her father for not listening to her when he had fallen asleep to the sound of the TV. And at the end, the specific end, I'm not going to tell the whole story, of course, the fun is in the details and you should watch the movie. I will always tell you to watch the movie. But right at the end, he's sitting by himself and he starts singing the song Zindagi Tamasha.
So while editing this video, I saw somebody's take on Zindagi Tamasha saying that it normalized homosexuality, which personally I don't see it. I think what they're trying to portray is that a man who has a softer side is usually considered to be more feminine. And especially towards the end, where he puts on a sweater and wears his wife's cap, his wife's sweater, and his wife's hot water bottle. It's more so to sort of combat the loneliness, the hole his wife's death has left in his life, because he's utterly isolated to the point where nobody's talking to him. He doesn't have his wife, he doesn't have his son in law. And even this poster specifically shows his isolation. His daughter and son-in-law are facing the other way. His wife is facing towards him. She is the one person he has always gone home to, who has been his cheerleader, who has been his support. And knowing that she is there has given him strength.
And I think it's ironic how the movie actually ended up mimicking reality. And the way Zindagi Tamasha and Sarmad Khoosat was treated, and how it has all the approvals of every censor board possible, but it's still not being played in cinemas. It's a disservice. At the end of the day, this is a disservice to the Pakistani society, because it's a mirror. This movie is a mirror to what is happening in our society today. First of all, we are an intolerant society. We already know that, and that is what this movie shows, right? And I think this obviously review is going to contain spoilers, but I want you to go watch the movie. Even if you watch this first, still go watch the movie, because at the end of the day, you realize that it mirrors the little intolerances of our society so well, and it really shows how aggressive we are towards people who are just happy, who are just enjoying themselves. Once I made a comment in some video, some Twitter rant I did, and I said that we're constantly, every time we see somebody enjoying themselves or dancing or laughing, we always see those comments on social media going, is this the Islamic Republic of Pakistan? But I have yet to see anybody write, is this the Islamic Republic of Pakistan, on a video of an actual crime being committed, or a woman being harassed, or a child being assaulted. You see none of it. Our Islam and our religion comes forward when we see somebody having fun or enjoying them. This movie, oh my god, this movie has shaking me, and I don't think I will be able to ever watch it again, but I might watch it with my husband, but I might not. I'll probably still watch it like this, but even though I know what's going to happen, it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking how intolerant our society is. And then we look at this movie and we look at what we did to its actual creator. We took this beautiful, beautiful movie, which could have really, really impacted society in a positive way and really given a lesson of tolerance to our people, and we just broke it. We broke the man. There's like an initial conversation by Sarmad Khoosat where he says, this movie is yours. And just watching that, it really hurts knowing that this man put his heart and soul into this movie, and it's a loss. It's a loss for society. It's not a loss for him. It's a loss for Pakistani society that this movie did not run on. This movie did not run in cinemas and theaters, and we missed out. But now it's on YouTube, so I would recommend everybody go watch it, because oh my god, it is worth the watch. It is absolutely worth the watch.